Disney and Pixar's A Bug's Life with a
basketball. A combined 59 All-Americans, 24 Final Fours, 9 national titles. Their tradition has crossed paths at Final Fours, the championship game, and in epic battles capped by memorable moments and comebacks. Success in the 90s has elevated the rivalry. Which is the team of the decade? It's time to find out next. We welcome you back inside the Continental Airlines Arena in New Jersey. It's a sellout. Both Kentucky and Duke have brought a few thousand folks here for a holiday season battle of the heavyweights in college basketball. Both teams are 10-1. It is number 4 Kentucky against number 2 Duke, a rematch of one of the great non-conference rivalries in college basketball. Great series in the 90s that we've already talked about. Digger Phelps rejoins me. A classic battle of the backcourts is what determined that game last March in St. Petersburg.
Well, yeah, that was a big factor. When Wayne Turner took the game over St. Petersburg, they were down 17 points. Second half, he ends up with the big 8 assists, but it was the way he drove to the basket to create problems for Duke. I think tonight you're going to see a Duke team with Avery in the backcourt trying to challenge defensively against Turner full court and half court, but at the same time, he's got to run Duke's offense. So to me, the key to this game tonight, will William Avery wear down? Is it a fatigue factor? On the other side, if you're going to play a tight pressure man-to-man, this helps what we like to see when Turner goes to the basket and create or dish out for the threes.
The Kentucky veterans have turned it up a notch, and in the spotlight tonight, Hashimo Evans, the Bronx native. 89 members of his family and friends here tonight watching him. He wants to have a big ball game. Back down courtside, Dave Barnett and Dick Vitale.
All right, Chris, and there are so many similarities, so much of a mirror image storyline between these two. As you focus in now on whoever's going to come out in this thing, first of all, Kentucky, what do they have to keep in mind?
Well, I think, Dave, there's a certain formula that has to exist for either club in terms of getting to the winner's circle. When we talk about Kentucky, I think their winning formula, Padgett's versatility, his passing ability. He's got to make some threes. And number 2, they got to play great post defense. That means McGlure. They got to deny the ball inside to Burgess and Brand. And number 3, they better defend Mr. Langdon, Mr. Avery. They've made 65 threes. If you allow those guys to get the inside-outside game going, go into the interior to Mr. Brand, back out to Langdon. He's got the sweetest shooting J, baby. That sucker goes down. So they need great post defense, and McGlure can give them that.
All right. Turn it around. What about Duke? What do they have to do?
You talk about Duke and their winning formula. Had a chance to share some time today with Michael Kane. We talked about it. I think number 1, obviously, Digger just alluded to it. You got to control the penetration of Turner. You got to make sure he doesn't make the turn like he did on Wojciechowski last year. Number 2, you better right now hope that Brandon Langdon can get at least 22 shots between them. They only shot the ball 7 and 8 times against Cincinnati in their loss, and that's unacceptable. And Duke goes to the free throw line. They make more than their teams absolutely shoot. And the bottom line is they got to get to the line at least 30 times, because if they're doing that, they're playing aggressive basketball. They're getting the ball to the inside. I can't wait, Dave. I wish it goes out all night. I hope this sucker never ends. I see those 2 uniforms, and all they stand is for greatness, greatness, greatness.
You still okay?
I'm ready to roll, man. I'm ready to roll. Let's play.
Healed.
Throw it up.
The stars on display tonight. Avery against Turner, Langdon and Padgett. Duke and Kentucky next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Interstate Batteries, the official battery of the family car, and by Mercury. Go ahead, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Number 2 Duke leads the nation in scoring, about 97 points per game. Jay Billis, how important is it for Kentucky not only to score but score quickly tonight?
It's very important, Dave. Kentucky is a very good transition team, and they're very effective at getting the ball down court quickly for easy scores, and that's the subject of our ESPN Spotlight. Kentucky puts an enormous amount of pressure on their opponents to get back quickly and protect the basket, and they do it even after scores, not just after missed shots. Most effective is Hishimu Evans, who gets down court the left side and gets a lot of easy momentum plays, not only in transition. He hits a lot of big threes and gets a lot of stickbacks. He could be a key player. It's going to be important for Chris Carrawell to do a good job on Hishimu Evans, Dave.
All right, Jay. Tubby Smith, 45-5. That's 2 games better than Adolph Rupp was through his first 50 games at Kentucky. Won the title in his first year. Nike starting lineups: Evans, Padgett, Bradley, Turner, and the freshman from Compton, Prince. Evans living up to his name, which means strong warrior. He is all of that and more at 15 points per game, setting the tone for Kentucky. For Duke and Coach K, Carrawell, Brand, Burgess, Langdon, and Avery. Elton Brand returns to the starting lineup after about a week or so coming off the bench.
Well, what they're doing is they're rotating Brand, Burgess, and Battier. As you look at Coach K and his second lieutenants, Quinn Snyder, Johnny Dawkins. Look at his numbers. Unbelievable. Look at us here. The Cameron Crazies have invaded this area. Well, you talk about faithful fans. Unbelievable fans from Kentucky. Over 4,000 strong are out here. I believe they got the loyalist fans in America who travel with their club.
The officials, Scagliotta, Clougherty, and Lopes were set. Kentucky and Duke are underway. And Padgett controls the tap for the Wildcats.
I'll tell you, Kentucky, Dave, within the last 2 weeks has been brilliant, beating quality clubs like UCLA, Indiana, Kansas. There's Mr. Turner, quick penetration, didn't waste any time.
Right away, Wayne Turner passed William Avery. And maybe a continuing theme all night.
I'll tell you, the defense of Kentucky, their recent wins over Maryland, also over Georgia Tech, has been sensational.
Missed by Carrawell, boarded by Evans.
He's become a star. Evans at 31 against Maryland, played brilliantly.
Michael Bradley, talented sophomore at a Worcester Mass, outside the 3, missed by Tayshaun Prince. Well, imagine being a true freshman in this game.
He's a diaper dandy. He's got long arms. Doubling up on Elton Brand. That's the inside-outside.
Not enough on the 3 by Avery.
He had 8 against Florida. He was on fire. Broke a school record.
Bradley put it on the deck, lost it off his knee.
Bradley has really developed to give him solid play in the post offensively, but they usually rotate McLaurin to give him solid defense. Kentucky's holding the opponents to 37.5% shooting, field goal percentage shooting. That's amazing.
One of their best defensive starts in many years.
Best backcourt in America. I really believe right now, Avery and Langdon are the best backcourt in America. They got 65 trays between them.
Langdon up, misfiring on his first 3-pointer. And Langdon has his sights set next on his own assistant coach, David Henderson, who is right ahead of him in the all-time Duke scoring list. And the next basket by Langdon will get him past Coach Henderson.
Well, there's that loyalty on that sideline. They got 3 assistants, all wore the Duke uniform. Understand the pride of the universe. This kid can pass the ball.
Padgett's wraparound pass to Bradley, tied up by Burgess.
Both clubs feeling each other out right now. You can feel the electricity here. You can feel the excitement that's in the air. These are 2 Goliaths. You talk about 2 of the special programs in college basketball. Such a rich tradition for years. As Bob Hurley, you talk about his era. Greg Kubek in front of him played in 4 NCAA Final Fours. Turner has a chance to make that happen if they can make that journey this year, Kentucky.
Turner has a chance to play on 3 champions for the first time since the John Wooden era at UCLA.
Dave, you realize how close they were to really be playing maybe this year for a 4-peat?
Burgess can't cash in. The nice feed from Avery, and Kentucky pulls it away.
Avery with the great look. Burgess has got to finish and finalize.
Turner passed Avery again.
I'll tell you, Rick Pitino, who made it all happen when he arrived at Kentucky on June 1st, 1989, told me that Mr. Turner could break down anybody in a one-on-one situation.
Avery close to a charge this time. They're going to call the blocking foul on Michael Bradley.
Dave, the one thing about Wayne Turner, you know he's almost going to like to change direction to go to his left, and he still gets there. Did he palm right there? Maybe a little palm. There he is, sliding and gliding, and there's the conversion. He can really break you down. Some key dates at Kentucky. Pitino's arrival on June 1st, 1989. His departure May 6, 1997. And then C.M. Newton didn't waste any time. Hired Tubby Smith on May 12th, 1997.
Elton Brand missed on the reverse. Duke has missed its first 5 shots.
Chris Fowler said it earlier. Elton didn't have a good game last year in the tournament. It was 1 for 4.
Bradley fouled by Shane Battier, who has just come in, wave off the basket, foul prior to the shot.
Concerned, Mike Krzyzewski knows he's playing against an outstanding team. I'll tell you what makes it so unique when you think of Kentucky. To win 2 national championships in 3 years, as you see the ball entered on the inside, no goal, get the foul. The bottom line is to do it with 2 different coaches and different personnel is just amazing. And they did it. They lost kids like Mercer and Anderson, and they came back and won the national title.
And this week-long discussion about the team of the 90s, a lot of people that say it's Kentucky say it's because they did it, having to rebuild in between eras.
I probably, if I had a vote today, would give them a slight edge. But remember, the 90s are not over yet.
Bradley had it stripped away. It's Langdon.
There's a lot of defensive effort going on that floor. These clubs have good principles defensively. They like to pressure the ball.
Battier straight on. Duke still looking for a bucket. Harrowell misfired. At last, Elton Brand.
There's the big guy, the space eater, the big wide body on the inside. Look at Tubby Smith, one of 17 children. Did a great job at Tulsa, a super job at Georgia. Took both of them to the Sweet 16.
Harrowell up tight on Evans.
On a pass.
Look at the ball movement, though. Padgett to Bradley.
That's the versatility I talked about earlier. We talked about some keys in the formula. You must neutralize his ability to dominate a game with his passing ability.
Turner poking it away from Avery. Gets it back. Kentucky with the steal by Hashimu Evans. And they have a 4-on-2. It'll be Turner.
I'll tell you, Turner's all fired up. He likes the spotlight. He likes the marquee matchups. He didn't really do a thing against Georgia Tech. Didn't have to. They won by 41. But he is fired up tonight.
So the leading scoring team in the nation, the 3rd best shooting team in the nation, finally a 3 as Langdon passes David Henderson, 20th now on the all-time Duke scoring list.
One of the premier three-point shooters in the history of the ACC, and just a brilliant shooter. He'll never overtake Curtis Staples of Virginia, but he's the #1 now at Duke. Just passed recently Bob Hurley.
Passed Hurley a couple weeks ago in their 44-point demolition job at home over Michigan.
Had 7 of them in that game. Battier is the best defensive player they have, and he's played right now matching up with Padgett.
Bradley misses on the fall away. Made by Avery.
He's just a flat-out guard. Forget about point guard. He's a combination guard.
Brad double around Bradley for the reverse.
They're establishing inside play right now, going to Elton Brand. And usually when that happens, a concerned Tubby Smith, their perimeter game becomes better because it stretches out the defense.
So far, all the Kentucky points coming inside. They have been able to get inside against Battier, Brand, Burgess, Evans here.
There's Evans with the right hand, a transfer from out of Manhattan. His former coach is in the house tonight, Fran Fraschilla.
Evans and 89 of his closest friends and family.
Well, right on New York City. His mom works in the hospital out in the Bronx.
Harrowell, tough shot. Up over Padgett.
He's one of those role players you have to be able to win. He's a guy that'll defend people, come up with some big plays, very aggressive. Harrowell doesn't get a lot of publicity.
Great center as a freshman. They're a little bit short-handed in the middle, only 6'6". Middle is clear. They let Evans go to work on Harrowell. And that is out of bounds off Tayshaun Prince. It'll go over to Duke. So we're underway, 14-13 in the first half. The emotional tone already set for Duke and Kentucky. Recovery by Georgia Tech, just beaten 80-39 Saturday in Atlanta by Kentucky.
I'll tell you, Davey Feldman making that call. They really have to step it up. Georgia Tech showing some pride. We're going to talk about right now defense. You got to control the penetration of Turner. Now watch this right here. Freeze it. See, right here. Watch the help by Battier to stop him from making a turn. Battier steps out. There it is. That's called hedging. You step out and you take away the direct line and the angle of the driver. And Shane Battier, according to Mike, is the best defensive player he has coached. His versatility is amazing. He can play any one of 4 positions defensively.
Duke, after missing their first 7 shots, shooting for the lead, and it is their prize freshman, Corey Maggette.
Remember that name, Maggette. He's going to be a flat-out superstar, a PTPer. He's got star all over him. From out of Chicago, Illinois area, Fenwick High School, 6'6". I mean, he's a dazzler. He's a PTPer. There's no doubt he's a diaper dandy.
As his 10th three-pointer of the year to give Duke a 12-10 lead. Saul Smith has come in for his father off the Kentucky bench. Going to be contact called away from the ball on Maggette. A little shove against Evans.
Hey, Dave, Corey Maggette's a kid. He's got so much versatility. There's the bounce pass to him. He shows his ability right now. Comes right off the bench and provides that instant offensive spark. But he's got a lot of flair to his game. See, right now, if he made that shot down at Cameron Indoor Stadium, those Cameron wackos would be going bananas.
Oh, it would have erupted. The productivity just takes your breath away almost. 18 minutes per game. He's their fourth leading scorer, about 12 points per game. Nate James unable to chase that errant pass.
Come on
back, Nate. We're just underway.
Yeah, Nate, where's Nate going? Come on, Nate. Get him back out here. They really like the way he's been developing the last 5 games. Has had a lot of injuries in his career. As a McDonald's All-American out of high school, Tubby Smith. The unbelievable job, the pressure taken over for Rick Pitino, who is absolutely, when you think of the job Pitino did, taking a program over when they were NCAA probation, couldn't play in the tournament for the first 2 years.
Kentucky turns it over for the 6th time. Duke on a 10-2 run.
Again, he's got some great handle as well. John Calipari loves him.
Langdon against McGlure, and Saul Smith's going to be called for the reach. Bowl week begins on December 26th with the Insight.com Bowl coming from Tucson with Corby Jones and the Missouri Tigers taking on West Virginia. A couple of great backs featured in this matchup. Devin West for Missouri, Amos Zeraway for the Mountaineers. 1,000-yard-plus guys. That is Saturday night from Tucson on ESPN.
Look at the passion. Look at the hug. Look at the love for one another. They're so unselfish. Now take a look at Battier. Look at the way he attacks the basket. And there's the tough foul going to the rim. And he pops right up. I'll tell you, Shane Battier, Mr. Basketball out of Detroit Country Day. Same high school that produced Chris Webber.
Talked about his defense. They have a stat for that. Not everybody keeps this stat, but Duke does for good reason. It's charges taken, and he had a school record last year, 29.
Yet he's on the way down to break another record. You know, down in Kentucky, they keep all kinds of charts, deflections. They have deflections broken down into a variety of symbols. They break them down into a deflection off a tip, off a block shot, all created by Rick Pitino. It's such an unbelievable system. They feel if they can get 35 deflections, they win. That means to them they're playing aggressive basketball. And when they go to the halftime, they chart on a blackboard. They put that up.
That is a fond memory for Kentucky. They, under Pitino, won the national championship right here in the Meadowlands against Syracuse in '96. In San Antonio last year over Utah. Greatest second-half comeback ever in a finals matchup. 10 down at the half. Won it going away by 9. There's Battier to the deck. Typical effort by Shane.
Tough to make that spin move. Nice extra pass.
Burgess from Langdon. Foul prior to the shot by McGlure.
What a tremendous movement. See, moving the basketball, if you get ball movement and player movement, you reverse the basketball, you're going to get good shots. Take a look right here. Watch the defensive effort. If you try to spin dribble, they're going to be coming from the behind to deflect it. Now watch the extra pass. There's the reversal, and there's the one extra pass. You mentioned the fact that Kentucky had a proud moment here. Duke's had a number of proud moments here. 86, 88, and 89, and 90.
This is almost their home away from home.
Yeah, they won 4 regionals here to go to the Final Fours in those years.
12-2 in the Meadowlands this week.
86, they beat David Robinson in the Naval Academy.
Nate James up with the left hand finish. Nicely done past Smith.
I'll tell you, when you're getting players off the bench, quality players who give you QT, quality time, guys like James and Maggette, you know you got a special team.
This is now a 14-2 run by Duke, which Padgett ends with a 3.
They needed the 3 from Padgett. Do you believe this, Dave? He went 0 for 18 in the stretch earlier this year, but was brilliant against Maryland. Knocked down 4 for 4 from the trifecta, had 25 points and 13 rebounds.
Best game of his career.
He was brilliant. There's a zone right now by Kentucky. They come out of the man-to-man. Tough to zone Duke with the way they shoot the basketball. They better spot up on Langdon because he can flat-out shoot it.
Battier ends a run of 6 straight makes by the Blue Devils. 3-on-2. Paget. And it'll be Evans taking it back out. Desmond Allison, freshman from Tampa, travels. Bubby Smith with 8 turnovers. Bit of a concern this early. 11:25 to go. It was Kentucky early. Duke coming back to lead it by 3. His counterpart, fresh from last year's Duke team, is Wojo. Steve Wojciechowski filling in on the Duke radio broadcast.
I just think it's a matter of time before he's on a sideline as a coach. If Quinn Snyder gets a job and somebody should go after him, I'll tell you, he'll join Mike Krzyzewski on that staff. You take a look at Mike right there. Think about this. 1980, he's named head coach at Duke. He comes in with a record of 9-17. Yet Tom Butters, who's the PT peer, the former AD, for having the guts to hire him because he got a phone call from a guy by the name of Robert Montgomery Knight, who sold him on saying that Mr. Krzyzewski fits the puzzle at Duke perfectly.
Paget cutting in front of Elton Brand to get the steal, and Kentucky in a rush back up the floor. Ryan Hogan, the latest off the Cats bench.
I'll tell you one thing, he could provide some jump shots. His uncle was a great shooter when he played at Kentucky, Kevin Greavy. LeVar on the inside matched up with Burgess.
Saul Smith is the shot clock for the first time tonight is a factor. It's under 10. Paget chased out by Brand. Now Hogan, 5 to shoot.
See how Duke is so well coached? They know that Hogan is a guy that wants to shoot the 3.
Smith from 30 almost got it at the buzzer.
Not the shot they certainly wanted, had no choice.
And Duke works that hard on defense, they don't get the loose ball. They've got to do it all over again.
See, Carrawell knows that Hogan's a specialist who can shoot the 3. He's right up in his face. See this? He's not going to let him shoot. He's going to have to drive on him.
Tried to slip it underneath to Evans. It's taken away by Avery.
Nice look by Avery.
Paget goes up and gets Carrawell.
I'll tell you, William Avery, his choices were, if Rick Pitino stayed at Kentucky, there was a great shot. He might have went to Kentucky. That was a battle right between us. I'm working on Battier right now. He's from out of Augusta, Georgia. He's averaging 15 a game and 11 assists against Michigan, 11 against Fresno State. I mean, he's done a super job, William Avery, taking over for Wojciechowski.
Junior from St. Louis, Chris Carrawell, 71% free throw shooter. Has his 3rd point. Turnovers for Kentucky, 9 of them, and compare that to only 3 by Duke, which has started to find its shots.
And this is sort of a statement game in a way Mike and I were talking about today. They lose to Cincinnati. Kentucky's had some brilliant moments this year. They play the toughest schedule in America. When you got wins already over the Indianas, the Kansas, the UCLAs, the Maryland, Georgia Techs. I mean, that's an amazing schedule they've played. But Duke, they had that one big matchup in Cincinnati, and they came on the L side. They had a good win over Michigan State, though.
Let's check in with Jay Billis.
Dave, Shane Battier just got a little cut opened up on his leg. Trainer Dave Engelhardt put a little bandage on it, just a minor flesh wound in the war. Dave.
I'll tell you, Jay knows about little minor wounds. Jay was a standout in 1986 when Duke went 37-3. That's the most wins by anybody in the NCAA. It was tied by UNLV, I believe, in 1987, the year that Indiana cut the nets down.
Only a flesh wound, says Jay. He will re-enter the battle. Paget, 63% free throw shooter this year. Tri-captain, preseason All-America, Naismith candidate, Wooden candidate.
Has really come on strong in the big games of late. He's really made some big plays, made some big threes, passed the ball really well, showed his multi-dimensional skills.
All Final Four pick each of the last 2 years, and the MVP of the championship round last year. Victory over Utah.
They're going to get Elton Brand established. Not a good look right there. Telegraph that pass. Give it up.
Turner finds Paget rejected.
Elton Brand says, "Thou shalt not enter thy lane." He's got those long, long arms. He's from out of Peekskill, New York. Used to be the training base of the New York Jets when they had Joe Willie Namath. There's the dump down. There's Brand going to rotate over. Got the good angle for the block. That actually was Carrawell. That was Carroll, I believe, instead of Brand.
Turner. That time Brand blocking his path, and it comes off to Avery. Carrawell, first man up the floor for Duke.
Great job of finalizing. Poor job by Kentucky in defensive rotation.
Bradley almost gets it back. It's a good foul by Chris Burgess.
Well, the one thing Kentucky will do, as soon as you score, they'll get it out quickly and get the ball up the floor. They convert very quickly. I'll tell you, think about winning that national title in '96. As you see them kicking it out. There's the jam. Quick release. They quickly get the ball out. Good look by Avery. Carrawell finishes very strong, very physical. But Rick Pitino, in winning that title in '96, you know, you think about that when they came down here, they had to play UMass and John Calipari, who had beaten them earlier in the year. But Pitino did such a phenomenal job utilizing the three-point line.
Well, that is why Michael Bradley's a 46% free throw shooter. A swish and an air.
I'll tell you one thing, he's lucky he didn't miss that like that at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Right now, it doesn't sound too different, actually.
You know, you got the greatest fans on the road when you talk about Kentucky. They're also great at home. But there's nothing like the environment down at Cameron Indoor Stadium in terms of electricity. Man-to-man defense.
Langdon, quick catch and turn. Would have been a two-pointer by Langdon, out of bounds off Duke.
You know, he's shooting over 50% from the three-point line this year, and he's automatic late in the game. If it's a close game, he's the best free throw shooter right now statistically in the history of the ACC.
88% for his career and 93% this year.
And the guy that was number 2 back in the early 70s, late 60s, Charlie Davis of Wake Forest was a great player.
Bradley, the traveler got fouled, and they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the foul to Trajan Langdon is his first. More hoops tonight at midnight. The Cowboys and Runnin' Rebels from Vegas at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific. Both trying to come back from losses over the weekend. Oklahoma State upset by Creighton, and UNLV losing to Cincinnati.
Right there, the little air ball by Hashimo Evans. It really neutralized him. It's taken him really out of the game early.
High off the glass by Avery.
He's such a prolific scorer, Dave. He has the unique ability to give the ball up. He has an assist-turnover ratio of 3-to-1, but he can also finalize and score. That's what makes him unique.
His first points. Evans has only 2. Langdon only 1 bucket.
Carroll really matching up strong on Evans. The two Warriors going head-to-head.
Padgett on the post-up. Almost threw it away. Turner rescues it. Now back down low, and Bradley can't score over Brand. Playing some inspired defense in this first half in his return to the starting lineup tonight.
Last game, he was 13 for 13 on a foul line coming off the bench. Avery to Brand. I'll tell you, the super Souths. Look at Wojo. Come on, Wojo, smile. He went the pole in the play, didn't like it. So now he's doing radio. He'll be a coach.
Largest lead of the game for Duke, up to 7. Tayshaun Prince lost it right down to Bradley, and a foul by Shane Battier.
I'll tell you one thing, you're not going to get anything easy on the interior. You're going to have to earn them and go up strong or go to the line. That's a good foul because Bradley's not a good free throw shooter. Watch Avery's pass right here. Triple threat position. He can drive, he can draw the dish, and there he is, the 3D man. Drive, draw, and dish the rock to Mr. Elton Brand, the space eater.
Now, Krzyzewski sat down Elton Brand, brought him off the bench for a couple of weeks, brought him back into the starting lineup tonight. No accident. You got to start a guy like that against Kentucky. Do you see evidence that whatever message he was trying to get across to him has been received?
Well, I think, number one, what he's trying to do psychologically is Bradley comes up empty. He's going to rotate 3 guys, Burgess, Battier, and Brand, for those 2 positions, and let them all know that they're designated starters. Almost very similar, though they won't admit it, to what they did in North Carolina last year with their Super 6, classified them all as starters.
1 of 2 by Bradley. It's Duke by 6, under 7.5 minutes to go in the first half.
To me, the funniest stuff that would happen in a tragic time, because he's in the hospital and cancer's eating away at him, for him to do impersonations were the best. And he had amazing, he could do amazing things with officials and with fellow coaches.
Did he have a Dickie V impression is what I wonder out of it.
Well, I know one thing. I had the good fortune to be on the Bill Cosby show. Jimmy and I played V&V, the Movers, and Bill Cosby invited us out for dinner. It was great. We go to dinner, and I see this with my own eyes. Bill Cosby, the funniest man in the world. There is Jimmy Valvano having Bill Cosby on the floor, laughing hysterically. I mean, I thought he would have been a perfect guy for a sitcom. I really do. I think he could have been a Seinfeld. I really believe Jimmy had that ability. I mean, if Bob Uecker did it, Alex Karras did it, why not Jimmy V? He could have done it.
Again, to donate to the V Foundation, you saw the number 1-800-JIMMY-V. Operators there all night. Trajan Langdon, second basket. He has 5 points.
Langdon's had a superb senior year. He and Avery have really blended so well together. Duke not very deep in the backcourt. They have to rotate Carrawell or McGetty back there when Mr. Avery and Langdon go to the sideline. And they're really normally wing players.
Ran way out, getting after Bradley.
Got to make some threes, Kentucky. They got to spot up and get some looks for the three. There it is.
Evans has been quiet. Misses on the three. Avery in full stride to start the fast break.
What a great look. What a great look. William Avery, a star. Dickie Weiss wrote about him today in the New York Daily News. Said he might be the best guard in the country. I mean, that's unbelievable. Elton Brand's mom said, that's my boy. That's my kid. That's my youngster. She's a proud mom.
Tayshaun Prince, the McDonald's All-American, Compton, California product, played against Corey McGetty, in fact, in the McDonald's game last spring in Norfolk, Virginia. His first points.
I'm in this high school where they got a 7-footer, but they got Tyson Chandler, a sophomore everybody wants.
Top shot by Brand in traffic. He has 10 to lead Duke.
We talked about how they got to establish inside play as one of the keys, one of the formulas for success, and Elton Brand is delivering.
How hot is Duke? They missed their first 7. They've hit 12 of their last 14. Prince shows a little range.
There's the Diamond Dandy stroke of the long-range jumper. He's long and lead, and you know what he can do with him? You can invert him to the inside, bring him from the perimeter to the baseline with his great size.
6'8". He's only 206, but that is up 16 pounds just since the end of last season, and he's got a 7-foot wingspan. A few tools on display out there. Long three-pointer by Langdon.
Can't zone them, Dave. A zone is a no-no. A zone is a quick exit to the L column. You can't zone Duke the way they can stroke the J.
Langdon has his second three-pointer.
See, he'll make it to the NBA. Guys say he's not super quick, doesn't handle well. There's no substitute for shooting the ball and having a great basketball IQ.
This is going to be on Shane Battier. And that is his third.
Look at William Avery. Head up all the time. Great vision. And there's the little dish off to another Super South, Mr. Brand. And Mr. Langdon with an area code jumper, shooting from Patterson, New Jersey, baby. Trifecta time. NBN, nothing but nylon. The Alaskan Assassin.
And the ACC career three-point picture. Langdon firmly in that picture as Padgett gets the first of 2 to get Kentucky back within 9.
You know, I mentioned he's from Alaska. They're recruiting right now, Dave, a young man named Carlos Boozer, a tremendous talent I saw this past summer at the Adidas All-American camp. And he's got a world of talent at 6'9". And if they can get him to join the likes of Casey Sanders at 6'11", Jason Williams from out of St. Joe's in New Jersey, a tremendous point guard, Michael Dunleavy. Yes, you got the name right. His dad coaches with Portland. I mean, if they get this kid, Boozer, it's between St. John's, UCLA, and Duke.
Which leads Kentucky by 8. 4:45 to go in the first half. Avery. And Evans called for grabbing him as he went hard to the lane. First foul on Hashimu Evans.
You know, last year they lose that dramatic game, 17-point lead, 9 minutes on the clock, 9:33 to be exact. And Kentucky made that unbelievable comeback.
McClure got all he could do, go up and make sure that Burgess didn't get it. Burgess earlier a similar foul and a good foul to make sure that at least there would be no three-point play.
Well, you know, McClure is a member of my all-Muhammad Ali team. He's a guy that says, just like Muhammad used to say, give me any jive, I'll get rid of you in 5. The crowd dares the boo, it's over in 2. You call me a bum, I'll get rid of you in 1. This kid is as cocky as can be. He said, we're going to beat Maryland. All over the headlines in the paper. And you know what? They beat Maryland.
Burgess looking for his first point. He started the last couple, and that was in place of Brand. They moved him from center to forward alongside Brand tonight. Look at the foot positioning by Burgess on the line.
Yeah, he made an adjustment. Last year he really struggled on the line. Has improved a little bit this year. Has improved back dramatically from last year. They've worked with him extensively.
He's 63% this year. He's also 63% from the field.
He's had some great moments this year for them. He's had some big rebound nights. Very active on the inside. High school All-American.
Paget, who leads Kentucky, 7 points. Burgess almost got the steal. Easy to Michael Bradley.
Michael Bradley down to the low post, gets the deflection, converts it.
Battier City, 3 fouls. Won't see him, we wouldn't think, for the rest of the first half.
They're zoning again. Step to the gap of the zone and bring the ball zigzag, inside and out.
Brand inside, doubled, and turns it over. Allison and Paget, 5th Duke turnover of this first half.
I think Desmond Allison is going to become a heck of a player at Kentucky. Good athlete.
Brand left his feet. Runs the floor, but Turner playing defensive back for the steal in the backcourt. Now Paget inside for Bradley. The extra pass sets up Allison, blocked by Maggette.
Corey Maggette with the big play. Look at this kid handle the rock.
Maggette to Brand, who's fouled on the floor. Well, the people who have seen Corey Maggette are already saying this is maybe not only the best player on this Duke team, he might end up the best Krzyzewski has ever had.
Oh, wow. There's a kid by the name of Grant Hill, pretty good player. He's got a long way to go to catch Mr. Hill. There's the rejection by Maggette, a good rotation over. Never had so many great players at Duke. One of my favorites years ago, give my age away, back in the early 50s, led basketball and scoring, led the major leagues in hitting. Dick Rowe has the same hairline I have as well. I mean, just a great guy. Look at Larry Bird.
There's one guy who is already about as high as anybody on Corey Maggette.
Oh, yeah, he loves him. Larry loves him. A lot of guys love him. He's a great talent, Dave. No question.
You also saw John Calipari. They were talking to those two between games about Langdon. Can he play at 6'3"? Will he have to play point in the NBA? Can he play off guard? They're convinced in the right situation he can be a Steve Kerr type. He doesn't have to have great size because he is such a great shooter. The best those two have seen come out of the college game in a long time.
Yeah, he's a specialist. He's a kid that'll come off the bench and really help a club. Never hurt you.
Extra pass ends up in Bradley's hand.
That's Kentucky. I mean, the extra pass, unselfish. I mean, just looking for the open man. Tubby Smith, a fierce competitor and a beautiful guy. The one thing so special here, got 2 great guys. Elton Brand inside again, going to the interior. He's dominating in the lane, Dave.
15 games he missed last year with a broken foot. Many people's preseason National Player of the Year this year.
There's Evans starting to heat it up now. He made some big threes last year when he came back from that 17-point deficit. He and Paget is zoning. Got to get a gap. Foul line extended. Step to the foul line.
In south, he denied Langdon. Maggette. Now Langdon from this corner.
He'd have a good look right there. Look at Brad.
Touch pass underneath for Carawell, and out of bounds over to Kentucky. 2:12 to go. Krzyzewski and Duke by 5 over number 4 Kentucky.
Barn burner in Atlanta. UNC down 2 to Georgia Tech. Max Owens. No. 66-64. The 6th-ranked Heels go down. 4th loss in the last 28 ACC games for UNC.
Wow.
What a turnaround.
Wow.
From what they had in Saturday night, an 80-39 loss to Kentucky.
I'll tell you, Brad Nessler and I couldn't believe how they got really blown out. What a tremendous win.
Let's check in with Jay Billis.
Dave, we talked early in the ball game about Kentucky's ability to get down the court and transition for easy scores, and the Wildcats have done a very nice job in this ball game of getting those easy scores. Hashimu Evans taking the ball right down the throat of the defense, Duke not getting back, and Wayne Turner getting the easy basket. But when Kentucky has to go against Duke's half-court defense, they have not been nearly as successful. Tubby Smith talking to his team about moving without the ball, making better passes, being stronger with it. Dave?
Jay, half their points have come in transition, 15 of their 30. Duke, after missing its first 7 shots, 14 of their last 18.
And they're shooting 61%. Unbelievable, as you just said, Dave. Missed their first 7 shots. Look at McGetty hooking up with Paget.
Paget right past him. Bradley right back. Battle for it, won by Tayshaun Prince, and that 7-foot wingspan coming in handy.
I'll tell you, there's so much intensity on that floor, such emotion. A clean, hard-fought game, coached by 2 classy guys, well respected by all their peers.
Getty tried to draw the charge. Evans missed on the 3.
Grant is really doing a great job getting up and down the floor.
25-footer just off by Langdon. As a pair of 3-pointers tonight. Evans sets up Tayshaun Prince, not even close that time on the 3. And it'll go over the other way. Tubby Smith and Kentucky down 5. We are moments away from Chris and Digger in the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Top stories of the night. They'll have highlights of our first game tonight, the Jimmy V Classic. Purdue's victory over South Carolina. Digger's analysis, scores from all around the country coming up. That is number 3 on Scott Paget, who has to leave with 1:19.
You know, that's big because when you think of Kentucky, they really rely so much on their winners. As you look at Shane Matty on the sideline, their winners, they got 3 experienced, dominant players who not only are experienced, but they have winning experience. Paget, Turner, and Evans. And in a big win over Maryland, who I believe is a legit top 4 team in America, they got 25 out of Mr. Paget, 31 out of Mr. Evans, and 17 out of Turner. They were operating on all cylinders. I think the best player in America, though, is Steve Francis, the junior college sensation playing for Maryland.
A lot of people think Grand is. He's got 14. Turner right back.
They did a great job for about a 6-minute period, taking away his drive to the goal. Early in the game, he was doing exactly what he did there. Beat the defender to the basket. You got to stop the basketball.
Final minute of the first half now. McGetty lost control, a headlong dive, and a foul. Corey McGetty's second.
Right here, look at this lane. You can't have that lane. You got to stop the ball. You got to stop the ball, baby. You can't let him get a lane like that. Even a slow guy like me can get down that lane. Come on, Davey B. Are you kidding me? Stop P.J. Carlissimo from laughing over there. He's laughing. They're all sitting on the sideline. We got them all in the house today. Look at PJ. He was laughing at me, PJ. Look at him. He's home now. PJ's home in New Jersey.
This is former home court right here.
Oh, yeah.
Seton Hall.
Tommy Amica doing a great job. The former Duke assistants won 6 in a row.
Jules Kamara in for the first time, and right away the offensive rebound to follow.
I love him. When he gets a little bit strength to his body, that freshman's got tremendous agility and mobility.
6'11" freshman out of Dakar, Senegal, by way of Oak Hill Academy. Another foul on the drive with 34.5 seconds.
You know what? Don't waste any time. We're in a hurry right now. Don't even let him shoot the 2 free throws. What you do is you put him in a book and go play because he's automatic. Langdon does not miss.
93%.
Isn't that amazing? Langdon shooting 93%. And how's this? Avery, his running mate, is shooting 85%.
2 shots, guys, 2.
And as a team, 76%.
Hey, come on, Dave. They should take away his scholarship. He missed 4. I mean, take away his scholarship.
Automatic, just like you said.
What a stroke. What a stroke.
He's had streaks this year of 17 straight and 19 straight free throws.
You know, Kentucky has not been as sharp as they've been in their recent games, and that reason is because of Duke and the ability of Duke playing really well defensively, giving help, but yet they're still in the ball game.
Shot clock is turned off, 23 seconds. Turner working against Avery.
Got to watch the 5-second count. 6 feet away, and the count is in effect. He wants to beat you left. Loves going left.
Prince waited for McGetty to clear. Bradley can't handle it, out of bounds. It'll still belong to the Wildcats with 8.4 seconds.
Tayshaun Prince has to work all summer on his ability to fake the jump shot and be able to attack the basket with dribble penetration.
20-second timeout 8
They did this exactly in the game I had with Maryland. We had that game down there, Brad Nessler and I. Right now in this sequence, they went for a three-point shot, and they nailed it right at the end to give them momentum going into the locker room.
Well, you said it wins over Maryland, Indiana, Kansas, and UCLA already. And back-to-back almost in the last couple of weeks. What a run they've had.
And what about blowing out Georgia Tech to where you humiliate them, and Georgia Tech beats North Carolina tonight? Think about that. Wow. College basketball. Love it. The spirit, the excitement, the enthusiasm.
Wildcats with a streak of 11 consecutive wins against ranked opposition coming into this one. Kamara, Maggette got a piece of that. 4 seconds. 3 for Langdon. Avery, 25-footer at the buzzer is just off. And it'll be Duke 39-34 behind a big 14 points, 6 of 7 for rebound first half for Elton Brand, responding to his return to the starting lineup by Mike Krzyzewski tonight. Duke by 5 when we come up. Chris and Digger at halftime in the Jimmy V Classic.
Travelers.
It's Kentucky winning the battle of the boards, and their backcourt outscoring Duke's 13-12 as far as the starters in the first half. But Blue Devils up by 5. Jay Billis now visiting with a former Blue Devil point guard and a Jersey native, Bobby Hurley. Jay?
Thank you, Chris. And Bobby, you played in one of the greatest games ever against Kentucky in 1992 in the regional final. What do you remember about that game when Leitner hit that shot?
Well, I just remember that I actually had a chance to win the game in regulation and didn't get it done. So that set up the stage for an overtime where Leitner just hit a dramatic shot. It was unbelievable.
After Sean Woods hit that runner to put Kentucky up, when you were walking back to the bench after the timeout, what were you thinking?
Saying, oh, man, it's over. And I was just really distressed because we had been through so much that game. And then Coach K just sort of told us, you know, you guys are going to win this game. And he had to shake me a little bit into believing it. But, you know, we got it done. And then Leitner hit a great shot.
Well, you've played against a lot of these guys out on the court here in some pickup games, and especially William Avery. What have you seen in him lately?
Well, I think he's just matured a whole lot in 1 year. Last year he was a little bit very talented, but a little bit erratic, and I think this year his game is so much more under control, and he's really playing well for Duke.
I'm going to ask you to make a comparison here. A lot of people have been talking about Corey Maggette, and admittedly he's an outstanding young talent. People have been comparing him a little bit to Grant Hill, saying he might be a better athlete, ultimately maybe a better player. What's your take on that, having played so long with Grant?
Well, you know, he has a great body and looks like he has a great future. And he's gotten me out of my chair a few times with some of the dunks he's had. But I think he's got a long way to go before you could throw him in that same ballpark with Grant Hill.
Now, I'll ask you to make another comparison. Your team, one of the best ever at Duke in 1992, back-to-back national championships. This team, how would they do against you guys if you went head-to-head?
Well, I'll tell you what, they have some depth on this team. They have some bodies to throw at you, but, you know, we had a lot of experience and a lot of talent on that team, so it's hard to compare, but, you know, it looks like they could have a very good year this year.
Well, you're ducking the question. If you guys played, who'd win?
I think we'd have to go up in them a little bit. I'd have to give us the edge on that one.
And why would you give you guys the edge?
Just experience and talent and just you know, we just had a knack for winning games, and we just got it done.
What do you think in the second half after having watched the first?
Well, it looks like we, from a shaky start, we really settled down and are playing pretty good basketball. And, you know, I look for us to turn it up a notch. I know Coach K is really going to get them going for it. We always like to start the first part of the second half really well and get off to a good start, so that's what I'm looking for.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be going in the game. He's using the we word, Chris.
It took some prodding, Jay, but finally he talked trash right there. But he's right. Those Duke teams proved themselves in big non-conference games. This young Duke team still has something to prove, but they're on their way to what would be a nice victory, leading Kentucky by 5 times.
Well, Duke's intensity, we saw in the grade 8, both Duke and Kentucky had great defensive intensity. And Duke right now, 43% percentage defense. That's what Kentucky is shooting. And when you take a look at the other side, the Dukies are shooting 52%. So what I see, Chris, now is Tubby Smith knows he's got to increase his defense, get the turnovers, but convert, score on those offensive rebounds. Turner right now 4 for 4 in the first half. He's got to take the game over. And the other side of it, it still comes down to Avery and Turner the last 2 minutes.
Well, terrible turnover trouble for Kentucky in the early going. 7 turnovers in the first 7 minutes, but they corrected that in the rest of the first half, chipped away. The lead is only 5, and as Digger said earlier, that really means nothing. Trajan Langdon, knife into the glass. The second half from New Jersey just ahead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Jordan and by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Duke led by as many as 10 points in the first half by 5 as we're set for the second half at 39-34. Again at the Meadowlands, Dave Barnett and Dick Vitale. Too much Elton Brand for Kentucky, 14 points. Do they have an answer for him in the second?
Well, I tell you, great hands. Obviously, we said he had to be established on the interior. McGlure and Bradley have not been able to handle him on the inside. Big space eater. And also, the bottom line is Kentucky did not play exceptionally well offensively, but they're right in the ball game, only down 5. The one thing about both these clubs, they got a lot of character, and there's no quit in anybody. Statistically, Duke shot the ball exceptionally well after the cold, frigid start.
They end up at 52%, but at one point after they missed their first 7, they made 14 of 18 in that stretch where at one point they did lead by 10. Kentucky 43%. Not many threes either way. Kentucky with a 4 rebound edge, and off the turnovers, Duke a 6-point edge.
As a look at Elton Brand, space eater, put back in the starting lineup tonight. 6 for 7 on the inside, 4 rebounds, really great post presence.
Duke ball to begin the second half. William Avery held to just 2 in the first half. They go for a Langdon 3. Avery in traffic, and it's pulled away by Evans.
They ran a little curl move up on top. Burgess set screen for Langdon, but he came up empty.
Jamal McGlure opens the second half for Tubby Smith on the front line.
He's more a defensive player, Dave, than he is an offensive weapon. So Burgess can give a little help to people because he's not really a threat on the interior. 42.
Paget opens the second half on the bench for the Cats. Back of the iron by Turner. William Avery starts the Duke fast break, which ends in a rather physical foul by Bradley against Burgess.
Well, it's intentional right there, Mike, but they said he went after the basketball. I don't think Tubby can wait a long time with Scott Paget out of the game. You're going to see right here, he goes for the basketball, they say. Make him go to the line. Not a good free throw shooter. I don't know, close to being intentional.
He was a whole lot more interested in the body than he was the ball.
Well, here goes Burgess to the line. Let's see, he takes away the sure slam jam man. And the dunk puts him on the line. Converts it. Look at Scott Paget, 3 fouls on the sideline. They need his experience on that floor.
Kentucky in the first half led by Turner and Bradley, each with 8. Paget right behind them with 7.
I get so amazed when I think about the change of personnel and the ability to win a national title like they did. And I also think about the fact, as you look at Battier sitting on the sideline, the fact they lost in last year's club. Nazir Muhammad on the interior, who I thought should have come back to school and made a mistake going to the NBA draft. And also Jeff Shepard and Allen Edwards and Cameron Mills. I mean, you lose a lot of quality players.
Lose that much talent, and you're still 10-1, and you've still beaten all the top-notch competition you face, with the one exception of Pittsburgh.
Lost to Ralph Willard. Ralph Willard was his sidekick. Was on the sideline at one time when Rick started his coaching career at Kentucky. Had a staff of Tubby Smith, Herb Sendick, Billy Donovan, and Ralph Willard. What a staff.
Kamara misfired. Burgess at the other end.
They got a good push right there on Brand. No. McGlure trying to play great post defense on the inside, which is his strength. Watch the post defense right now. Look at him trying to deny the basketball. Beat him to the spot. Trying to beat him to the spot. They can make contact either way. You could call that either way.
They called it on McGlure, and now that's his third. There is a real physical tint to this early moment in the second half, and the fouls are starting to stack up both ways. Langdon off the back foot has 12.
See, Langdon's become much more of a scorer. He has a variety of ways he can score now rather than just a stationary jump shot. Obviously, he scores on a free throw line, and he also can take the ball at a basket.
But he's made almost twice as many threes as he has 2. Steal by Carrawell, lost control, and it's out of bounds.
That's a big break right there for Kentucky. That would have been a big deuce and given them a lot of momentum. Could have been jumping in joy, jubilation. Hey, we want to say get well to Bucky Waters' mom. Is in a hospital right now. Bucky, who we've all have so much respect for, works at Duke's Hospital, is also on a board of governors of the Jimmy V Foundation. I want to wish the best to his mom, Elsa Waters.
Former Blue Devil.
He had a great staff at one time. He had guys like Chuck Daly and Hubie Graham.
What happened to them? Evans. And the tip no good. Finally batted right back into Kentucky's hands, and it's Kamara.
They got to find somebody to make some shots.
Cross court sets up Evans, who hits the side of the glass. Avery the other way for Duke. And another foul. Toby Smith's club opens the second half, missing their first 6 shots.
Really struggling right now to get any kind of good looks at the basket. See, when they have Padgett on a lineup, they miss his passing ability. When you look at the big people of Kentucky, they average 47% of the assists for Kentucky. They pass the ball exceptionally well.
Tayshaun Prince called for the foul is first. Avery really improving all aspects of his offensive game. An 86% free throw shooter, but that his first trip to the line tonight, he gets them both his 3rd and 4th points, and Duke has its largest lead of the game at 11.
You know, he was patient. He was a 3rd guard last year. Could have started at a lot of schools, but now it's his show, baby. It's his show.
And that time defensively did staying in front of Turner and forcing the bad pass.
Yeah, did a great job right there, taking away the penetration, not allowing him to make the turn. See, Turner excelled last year. He was the MVP of the South Regional, and he was beating Wojciechowski consistently to the basket.
Avery beats Turner this time, but there's Kamara ready for the block. They've got their 2 rejection machines down there, and Kamara and McGlure, and that is tough penetration.
Good decision right here for Tubby Smith and his staff. Bringing in Padgett, you got to bring him in. Can't allow him to sit out and let Duke open up a big lead on you.
So back in with 3 fouls, Padgett. He continues to sit Battier as they have since a lot of time remained in the first half when he picked up his 3rd.
Patience. See, right now, he's the maestro man. He's the orchestra leader. He's got the rock in his hand. They're trying to set a screen up for Langdon.
Got clock at 4. Harrowell at 2. Hits the 3.
What a big 3. They take it away from Langdon by stepping out and hedging, and he now gets open Carrawell, and he delivers.
Well, starting to take on a little bit of the character of that South final. And it was a Duke 17-point lead at one point in the second half.
With 9:33 on the clock.
They're going to call that over and back on Padgett.
Wow.
Over and back.
I thought he got fouled.
He is sure he got fouled.
Wow, I thought he got fouled. Ball's deflected. It was slapped out of his hands, wasn't it?
Off his knee. Body blocked by Brand.
Oh, I thought he got definitely laid a block on him. In fact, Bill Parcells would like him to play for him down here at the Meadowlands.
Too crowded side, and Carroll misfires on this 3-pointer, and Tayshaun Prince is fouled after the rebound by Langdon. Very tightly called. Early moments of the second half as Battier, now not the only man with 3 fouls, so he will come back in. A very rocky start for the Wildcats.
Wow, that's Brick City, USA. Tubby's club's not really. There's look at George Felton, used to be the head coach of South Carolina. In fact, Tubby was his assistant at South Carolina. Now he returned to favor. Padgett's got to look for some shots. You got to have your seniors stepping up. Padgett or Turner with some driving penetration.
Boy, the flow of this game has really been interrupted by the whistles now. This is on Trajan Langdon, who now has 3 himself.
Well, the officials right now are trying to take away all the body contact. Both clubs very physical. As you look at Coach K, former West Point cadet, just the intensity on that sideline. A brilliant record, 7 Final Fours, back-to-back titles in 91 and 92.
Almost 4 minutes in, and the Wildcats still looking for their first points here in the second half.
See, Avery's playing more on that left hand. He's going to make Turner go more to his right. He likes to change direction and go to his left.
Padgett will go to the line. This one is on Maggette, his third. I think it's a good thing both these teams are so deep because it may be the depth that finishes this game.
You know, they're very deep, and not only are they deep, they bring in quality players who could start at a lot of schools but are willing to take their time and be patient. Kentucky next year has got a phenomenal recruiting class coming in, headed by Keith Bogans. By the way, they lost their first game to Matha. Got beat by Gonzaga in Washington. They had a guard combination of Joe Forte, who's going to North Carolina, and Keith Bogans going to Kentucky. We also got Marvin Stone coming from out of Alabama, 6'10". The beat goes on. The rich get richer, baby. Mr. Maggette, Mr. Flash.
Maggette on the break underneath for the reverse. Avery counted.
What great hands by Avery in transition. Duke really playing well now, getting the ball out. Starting to blow this baby open.
Fourth foul on Jamal McGlure.
Look at Maggette. Look at Maggette. I love Mr. Maggette. I love Mr. Maggette. And there is Avery. You got to like Avery. He gets A+, baby. Look at Mr. Avery with the reverse layup, kissing it on the glass. And there's the score. Count it. What a matchup in the ACC on January 3rd. Duke and Maryland.
Mark it down. Circle it. You have it already. Battier picks up the loose ball. Misfires on the three. And another foul on the rebound.
That'll be at Maryland. It's a 1:30 game, and it's on ESPN The Deuce.
4 fouls on Kentucky's top shot blocking threat underneath Jamal McGlure. One of their problems. They're down 16 to Duke. Duke has opened up a 16-point lead with 15:44 to play. Kentucky is still looking for its first points of the second half. They have had nothing going offensively, missing all 6 shots, 3 turnovers, an 11-0 run in progress for Duke.
Oh, there's Donna Smith right there. Tubby's most valuable player. Cheers for her son, Gigi, plays for Georgia. Had a win tonight. He likes going to that left. He loves going to the left. You got to knock that shot down. Can't hesitate.
Battier denied him the 3, and then he denied Padgett the 2. Rejection right back down into the hands of Bradley.
Bradley with the score on the inside, but they're really coming up empty. Evans and Padgett got to put some points on the board.
And the steal, Maggette playing with 4 fouls that left him in during that last timeout, and this may be it. That's it for Corey Maggette, number 5. Gone with 15:19 to go is the freshman.
Wow. So learn. See, denying the 3. Come right up in his face. Total it. They have Tayshaun Prince open.
Maggette will be replaced by Carrawell. Were you surprised he was still in with 4 to get that fit?
Well, he's got so many people he can rotate in. Maggette, so typical of many youngsters, making that transition from high school, adjusting on the defensive end. Coach Krzyzewski played that defense for West Point when he played for the General as a point guard.
He got only 9 minutes out of Corey Maggette.
Yeah, only 9 minutes. He got himself in foul trouble. Very active player. But you can play like that and give fouls up because of your team's depth.
Well, Turner with that unorthodox motion, an improved free throw shooter this year. Career 59%, up to 74% coming into this one, but he's 0 for 3 tonight.
Well, you know, people have to realize you're talking about Kentucky and Duke. This baby's far from over. All you have to do is reflect back to last year with that 17-point deficit with 9:38 on the clock.
Defense like that brought him back. Padgett got the steal. Turner in transition, poked away by Nate James.
They like to come from the rear with that deflection.
Avery off brand.
Yeah, too hard. And Elton's got really soft hands, but he made that pass a little bit too strong. You know, it's hard to believe when you think about Cincinnati. They had him by 19, Duke. Duke catches him with 15 minutes on the clock. You figure by then, Duke would take command. That showed me a lot about Cincinnati. They are not a fluke. I mean, the fact that they can beat Duke from the last 15 minutes of that game, they have to be legit.
Here's Tayshaun Prince. And a whistle underneath. This will be on Carrawell, his first. When we get done here, Linda Cohn and Carl Ravitch at Sports Center with the North Carolina-Georgia Tech surprise. Clemens' new request, a new deal for Vinny, all coming up following the conclusion of our Jimmy V Classic tonight on Sports Center.
Life doesn't get any easier for Kentucky with that date with Louisville. Denny Crum's got some really good athletes. Kentucky 6 for 13 on a free throw line. That's not going to get it done either.
Evans now making it 6 of 14 for Kentucky. Not a good free throw shooting team coming in, just 63%.
They got to make those, especially when you're trying to make a comeback. Come into that deficit, you cannot allow those to slip away from you. Good no call right there.
Farewell intended for Brand, ripped away by Paget.
Prince has got to knock down the three. Reverse the Prince. Duke has really done a great job with their perimeter defense, getting up on the three-point shooters.
That's about as good a look as Evans is going to get. Goes way up. Missed the follow. Here comes Brand. Elton Brand going to start the fast break. And another empty possession by the Wildcats.
You know, I certainly don't mean this to be negative because I love him as a player. He made my All-American team. But Elton Brand definitely needs college to develop many more of his skills. He's a low-post power player right now who can dominate at this level, but down in that box, isolated in the NBA, will not get it done.
Even Brand, strong as he is, not strong enough to get that shot up.
Nice pass.
Bradley for Kentucky.
Nice pass. Elton Brand is certainly a sensational college player. He's limping now. Remember, he had a foot injury, and I love Elton. He's a quality young man, and there's some talk that he may be the first player to leave Duke early. There's his mom. She's so proud of her son as an outstanding student as well, as a good athlete.
Gets his foot stepped on right here. The left ankle came down on Bradley. I would guess maybe, what, 3/4 of all sprained ankles happen that way when you go up and you land on somebody else's foot. So they'll try and maybe redo the tape job, keep him back in there. One more look at what happens here to the left foot of Brand. That landing off kilter right there, and you see it turn over. So for the moment, Duke's scoring leader not on the floor.
He nods his head of approval that he's going to be ready to play.
Burgess needs some help and gets a timeout called. He was being hounded by a much smaller man in the backcourt, Wayne Turner, and it'll be 20 again for Duke.
Mike Krzyzewski last year, had they won that game, they were playing such a young club. You just got to remember last year, the B's, Burgess, Brand, and Battier, and the A, Avery, were nothing but freshmen, and there they were like a moment away from beating Kentucky and going on to the Final Four. Could have possibly won a national title.
Elton Brand, the story in the first half. Missed only one shot. Had 14 points at his variety of moves underneath and in transition. Ran the floor. Hit the boards. Used his power, his touch. And so far, nothing for Elton here in the second half. He's only shot it once.
Certainly a super baseline player on the collegiate level. Remember Cincinnati had Danny Fortson, very similar. Big, strong Arnold Schwarzenegger down in the box. He's having a little tough time adjusting to the next level.
One 4 set now for Avery. Langdon also pretty quiet this second half. It's a screen by Battier. 5 on the shot clock. Leans in past Paget. Rebound Battier and another foul.
They do a great job stepping out on screens, Kentucky. Well coached defensively. They step out and show, they hedge to take away the look of the three. So many times Langdon coming off that screen is wide open, but not against Kentucky. I just love going to Rupp and Cameron. They're such special places. You can feel the love and the passion both programs have for their basketball teams.
Kentucky brought 4,000 people to the Meadowlands for this one, including Ashley Jones.
Wow, I got a kiss from Ashley here at halftime.
I know
I got
you
a
did.
big kiss. Eat your heart out, guys. She gave me a big hug and kiss. I said, I got a cold. She goes, I don't care. Wow, Ashley Jones, eat your heart out, guys.
Consider it eaten. Now, has she ever not given you a hug and a kiss when you've seen her?
Wow, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Just don't tell my wife. She's in the house.
Saul Smith off the bench. Not much of a three-point
push by Evans. Push by Evans.
That'll be 3 on Hashimu.
Frank Scagliano with the call. Caught Hashimu with that little push. Brad Nessler's favorite player, a warrior. McLaurin foul trouble. Not really a factor tonight at all.
4 from McLaurin, 3 each now for all 3 frontline starters for Kentucky. Evans, Paget, and Bradley. For Duke, Maggette is gone. Battier and Langdon each have 3.
See, Langdon doesn't have great foot speed, but he's so intelligent with the basketball.
It has been difficult for both teams to get any kind of flow going with all the whistles, and in particular for Kentucky here in the second.
Come on, Jamal, wake up. Wake up, Jamal. Wake up, Jamal. Get him ready to play. He's still got some life yet. Scott Paget, Rick Pitino certainly sang his praises. Rick, such a most valuable player when you think about the job he did to re-excite all the people, to turn the program from when they were on the cover of Sports Illustrated with shame, turn him to unbelievable fame and what he did to win the national title right here in '96. Rick Pitino, to me, is one of the most complete minds I have ever met in the world of basketball. He's an absolute genius in so many areas. It's incredible.
That last foul, Bradley's 4th. Smith has it rejected. Off to Paget. He's fouled by Nate James.
Sloppy, really getting sloppy right now. I mean, we're getting really sloppy. Maybe we should move outside, Dave, and play right in the Meadowlands Stadium. There's the drive by Smith. I think it tries to slide and glide. Tries to attack the seam of the defense. There's the rotation over. Looked like an all ball there.
Burgess did get all ball, and then the foul out on the perimeter to put Scott Paget on the line. Both teams in the 1-and-1.
Their pressure has not really bothered Duke that much. Tubby Smith.
I think he just got teed up.
Wow. Probably one of the really nice people in the coaching fraternity.
He's not feeling so nice at the moment.
Oh, he's such a fighter. He's not going to live back on. I'll tell you one thing. His kids are certainly prepared for life in the SEC with the schedule they have played. They have played surf and turf, baby. No cupcake cities in Kentucky.
That's what got him his tee.
I think sometimes you got to let a coach moan a little bit on the sideline. I mean, really, sometimes you walk away from that. You really do.
Well, as outbursts go, that's pretty mild to get a technical.
I mean, really, you got a game going on with a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion. I think sometimes you got to be able to have a silent ear and to let the guy, especially if there's been maybe a questionable call being made.
Well, they let Paget finish his free throws. Now the technical will be shot by Langdon.
But this is automatic. I mean, it's automatic. I don't think he ever misses. Don't even waste time. Put it in your book right now. Come on, put it in your book. Get it down, record it. There it is, automatic.
See, usually that's a jinx. He's about the first jinx-proof guy I've run into in a long time. Well, Smith and Kentucky in trouble against Duke, down 12.
If there are any producers watching out there that want to have a hit series, ABC, CBS, NBC, ESPN,
B&B and Son.
These are the two guys. He does tricks. This
the whole thing.
dances. He works.
I have one trick, one great trick, make him disappear. Oh, I wish I could. Impossible.
Not really.
Well, he never did make you disappear, no matter how hard he tried. He got an SP. Did you ever hear from the Emmy committee after that performance?
I'll tell you one thing. I was surprised by what you just showed, but I've said it once and I'll say it again. Jimmy Valvano should have been on a sitcom. And Bill Cosby, one of the funniest people. And I'll tell you this, I don't want Bill to hear this. Jimmy and I were walking around here and saying, we can't believe it. We're going to dinner with Bill Cosby. He knows who we are. We didn't know he knew who we were. He knew who we were. We felt like so important until we went for dinner. Nobody asked for our autograph. Everybody asked for Mr. Cosby's. And we said, what about us? They said, who are you guys?
Well, for once, you could take a night off from the autograph. Holly Gully second half. We've had 16 fouls called in a little more than 8 minutes this half. And it has ground the pace and the flow to just about a standstill.
Well, we thought Duke would have to go to the line at least 30 times. They're up to 22 already. Nice cut. Evans without the basketball. First time we've seen some motion without the ball. Now they're going to go to full court trap. The one thing Duke has, they don't have a lot of depth at the backcourt area, but their big people can pass the basketball. People along the baseline. Remember, they lost McGetty, who would be certainly someone valuable on a perimeter.
Avery for Burgess. Padgett tried to draw the charge. That'll be his fourth. Remember, he didn't start the second half because he had 3 at intermission. He sat about the first 3 or 4 minutes. Smith got him back in. Now deep trouble with 4 and 11:02 to go.
And if you're Tubby Smith, you really can't take him out of the game. You can't take him out of the game.
Also with 4, McGlure. This game was not called this way, Dick, in the first half. Something happened to the officiating, and what was a foul in the first half, or what was not a foul in the first half, is in the second half, and that's disconcerting for the players.
Well, right now, somebody's going to knock down a 3, though, for Kentucky. You got to forget about the whistle and just play some hoops. Really extended defensively, really trying to lock up the perimeter looks. Evans made some big threes in the comeback when he was down 17. There he is cutting without the ball. A little shuffle cut.
Kamara's pass intended for Turner. Too tall.
One good thing for Tubby, Duke has not been able to knock them out as poorly as they've played in the last 4 or 5 minutes.
They are still hanging in within 10. They've been down as much as 16.
Avery plays a lot of minutes. See, there's that screen up on top. And he immediately showed.
And then right past Burgess all the way through.
I'll tell you, he's become a complete player. See the pass, he would not take the ball to the goal. He would look to pull up and shoot the jump shot. He's starting to attack the basket a lot more. He gave up baseball, by the way. I guess hitting about 180 makes you say, forget that sport. Pretty curveballs.
Another foul underneath. This one's on Carrawell. One more look at the drive, the attack by Langdon.
See the screen? Padgett stepped out, tried to give help, but he blew right by Padgett because Padgett had 4 fouls and could not play him. See, right now, whoever Padgett's guarding, you got to attack him. The one thing you can guarantee with the kids at Duke, they got solid basketball IQs.
Padgett's going to leave, and they get Bradley back in. He also has 4. Jules Kamara, the freshman from Senegal, Oak Hill Academy product, playing some key moments maybe for the whole rest of the second half. They don't really have much choice with their foul situation. They're going to have to force feed him some minutes.
He's a man of Oak Hill Academy, and he's got a world of potential.
Hashimu Evans, the Manhattan transfer, Manhattan College for Fran Priscilla. He left for St. John's. Evans left for Lexington. He has 8 points.
See right now, Avery breaking the pressure. Evans for double. Avery trying to put a lot of pressure on the basketball.
Elton Brand back after getting the ankle re-wrapped. Offensive foul.
They wave it off. Bradley with the ball. Bradley does a good job rotating over. Clockerty with the ball right in front of Coach K. Watch out, Brad sitting down in the post. Now he sits down. There's the contact. Good call. Solid call. He doesn't think so. He doesn't think so. He set him up for the next call.
He did lower the shoulder, though. His second. Here's Kamara out front for 2.
That's big. He's Mr. Poe, baby. He's got a world of potential. Maybe that charge could swing the Uncle Mo to the side of Kentucky. The Big Blue faithful looking for something to get joyous about.
They start to sense it. You hear from the Kentucky fans, and Brand quiets them right down.
Great job right there of Elton Brand. Under control, knocking down the medium-range jump shot. But Avery has really stopped the penetration of Turner. Early in the game was all Wayne Turner. Like he wants to change right to left.
Turner has not scored in the second half. The co-leader with 8 in the first. Evans, Mattier, 6'8", the long arms denying him. Now Turner, 5 to shoot. Past Avery this time.
That's a great drive right there by Turner. Showing he can go to the right. Ashley Judd loves it.
Avery beats the pressure.
Nice pass.
Burgess blocked by Kamara. Brand, count it.
I'll tell you, Elton Brand dominating inside. And the bench loves it.
18 for Brand. The foul is Kamara's first.
The block shot. Brand comes down with the ball, goes right up strong. He's got those great soft hands. There's the look by Avery. The rotation. Kamara is going to be a special player. All he's have to do, fill out that body. Get in the weight room.
Brand made all 13 free throws Sunday. This is going to be a lane violation. It'll give him his first free throw over.
Duke was so sharp against Michigan and Florida. I mean, really put a hurt on him, putting over 100 points on the board. And Florida's got some good-looking young kids who I think that was a great education for Billy Donovan's kids.
Well, McGlure back in. Scoreless tonight. 4 fouls. Bradley also with 4. Padgett has 4.
A little upset, talking about the officiating. Ball down in their heads.
McGlure.
They're really locking up. They know Prince likes to shoot the 3, so.
Avery lets him off that time.
Look at the help and recovery. Look at the help and the recovery. You help, give help, and recover. Help and recover. That's called a certain phase of their defense. They have certain phases and aspects. 1, pressure the ball. 2, deny on the wing. 3, play good post, solid defense on the interior. 4, do a little hedging. 5, block out.
Duke beats the press. Avery would have counted. If that is McGlure, that is all. And I think that is going to be Jamal McGlure's 5th.
He was a no-show here tonight. He was a no-show.
They got no points, not that much time on the floor for McGlure, and he has fouled out with 8:05 to go.
With the size that Duke has on the interior, you have to have some people neutralize them, and McGlure today was a non-factor on the lane.
Bradley back in after 15 points, his season high against Georgia Tech.
They could do
Saturday, nothing.
They could do no wrong against Georgia Tech. They were absolutely sensational. Every player. That's his former high school coach sitting next to him. He's the assistant, administrative assistant. Simeon Morris.
Rare missed free throw by Avery. Duke by 11. Now make it 12. Avery with 7, the MVP of the Alaskan shootout. Side of Duke's only defeat.
He had 30 in the final game against Cincinnati. In the game they lost, Melvin Lovett made that home run, that Mark McGuire shot at the end.
What a great play.
Yeah,
pass and ladder variation.
Kenyon Martin made the pass. Ryan Fletcher threw it to him.
And shot out all around the perimeter by Langdon. Shot clock at 10 for Saul Smith. And he used the Kamara screen. Desperation drive by Smith with the shot clock running down, and Duke bails him out with a foul. Elton Brand, his 3rd.
Through some contact, goes to the line. Got to convert these free throws. Time is starting to evaporate.
Saul Smith just 65% from the free throw line. Not having a great offensive year, just 28% from the field.
He's a good role player. Look at his mom right there, Donna, trying to get the team jubilant. Come on, let's go, guys. She's a great support to Tubby, and so is Mickey to Mike Krzyzewski. As a look at Mickey, the coaches' wives, really, the pain they feel. They feel all that pain, the holiday season if the team loses, coaches looking at videos. I mean, people have no idea what the coaches' wives go through.
Unlike their husbands, they can't do anything about their frustration.
They got to put up with all the emotions, ups and downs.
60 to 50.
Oh.
And that means it's anxious in the judge seats.
Look at Ashley. Look at Ashley. Give us a cheer, Ashley.
Remaining, Duke still hanging on to a 10-point lead.
Well, Duke's doing a great job shutting off the perimeter. Their help and recovery is really great. Watch right here. We see the help. Freeze it. See the help right here? Comes in the lane. Now you kick it back out. Right there, stepping out, and look at the recovery. Back right on him. great job. Just a great job of helping and recovering, getting out on a perimeter. We talked about a winning formula, what must happen. Control Turner's penetration, 0 assists, 4 turnovers. We talked about Brandon Langdon getting about 22 shots. They got 21 so far. 30 free throws for Duke in the opening of the game. They're right now on the line 25 times. So far, it seems their formula right now that we put together looks like it will happen if they were to get out of here with the W.
Boy, almost to a T. All 3 of those categories. Nice job.
Well, you work a little bit, you study, and sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're wrong.
Padgett is back. He's got 4. It held him to 9 points. Langdon shadowed by Evans.
See, against Cincinnati, when they got beat, Langdon only had 7 shots and ran 8. And Mike Krzyzewski at a team meeting told them that's totally unacceptable at Duke, that our number 1 and 2 options don't get more touches.
Avery past Saul Smith, the pull-up in the lane.
William Avery has become a star. He is no longer just a complimentary player. I agree with Dick Weiss, who I respect, who wrote today, he's one of the premier guards in America.
We let it be known a couple of weeks back that it might not be just Elton Brand thinking about an early departure after his sophomore year. Avery's harbored some of those same thoughts. He'll make up his mind after the year. Turner back of the iron. Padgett. Nothing but frustration this entire second half for the Wildcats.
William Avery's still learning how to play the game. But I think the kids fall in love with that Duke environment. They think about life here, that they just don't want to leave.
27% shooting by Kentucky this half. Battier coming up short, but he gets his own miss. To Carrawell. He can't get it either.
He's an unsung hero, Carrawell. Just plays so hard. He's their Rambo man.
Evans tried a little shake and bake, almost lost it. Doesn't matter how close in they are simply not falling for Kentucky.
I'll tell you, a lot of that, though, is Duke's pressure on the basketball. Playing so hard. What unbelievable intensity.
Christmas Day on ABC. First, it is the annual Kelly Tires Blue-Gray All-Star Game. Some of the best in college featured. That's at noon Eastern. And then at 3:30, 12:30 Pacific time, the Jeep Aloha Bowl from Honolulu, Colorado, and Oregon. Christmas Day on ABC Sports. Evans, a big three-pointer.
That's a big trifecta, boy. They really needed that, Dave. Somehow, some way, they had to deep down and make a big play, and that's what great stars do. They make big plays.
First three-pointer this half by Kentucky. It gets them within 9. They finally have it down to single digits at 5.5 minutes to go. Now, can they do what they need to on this end with all the foul problems they had inside? Avery missed a 3, and it hit off the top of the backboard over to Kentucky.
When you get the winning time now, the one great thing about the Duke backcourt is they are superb at that free throw line. But right now, Kentucky, Mr. Turner's got to utilize his great ability and get in the lane. There's a screen. Duke stepping out on the perimeter. Give Kamara a touch inside.
Wildcat fans on this end of the floor all on their feet.
What unbelievable intensity in the defensive end right now.
There are just no openings down there. 10 on the shot clock.
You don't get any open shots.
Evans has
hit
one
that.
here. Finally, too long on the 3.
A lot of patience right there by Kentucky.
Quick pull up by Langdon.
Not a good shot. Not a good shot right there. That's a good shot. That's a good shot. Carrawell's one of those workers. He's one of those winners. A kid doesn't get a lot of headlines, but you better have the Carrawells if you want to cut the nets down.
That's about as big a play as Krzyzewski has seen out of his Devils this half. Kentucky fights, gets the rebound immediately. Carrawell gets it back, puts them back up by 11. Turner in a crowd. Kamara lost it. Padgett to the deck. Kentucky ball. It touched Battier. Last sequence, what a heartbreaker for Tubby Smith.
Yeah, the ball goes to the deck, and who comes up with it? Mr. Carrawell. Just drops it and runs back up the floor.
7 Final Fours over the last 13 years.
1990 went to the final game, got beat by UNLV. 94 beat by Arkansas.
Tough shot missed by Smith, got it back. Evans did not see the shot clock. It never reset.
Didn't have to reset. Good defensive effort. Great defensive effort by Duke.
Under 4 minutes to go. It's Duke by 11.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of NCAA basketball is brought to you by Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Duke led by 5 at the half. They have plugged away, never given up by 11, as many as 16 here in the second half. 3:51 remaining for them to nurse this double-figure lead. The Nike storyline, Kentucky can't buy a basket this half. That's pretty much the story.
Well, 6 for 23, but a lot of that you got to attribute to the great team defense of Duke. They really are getting after all the Kentucky people, not giving them any good looks at the goal. Free throws, 16 for 25. Brandon Langdon doing a solid job with 35 points between them. Inside and outside have stepped up big here tonight for Kentucky. I mean, for Duke.
'18th meeting. Kentucky leads the series 11-6, including the most recent encounter last spring. The great comeback to win it by 2. Do they have another comeback in them? Time on the way. Backcourt pressure.
Trying to go to a half-court trap right now. Got to go back and remain man. Trying to take it to a trapping area. Prince and Avery hooking up. Avery's quickness should be a little bit tough for Prince to handle. So there he is with that quickness. Got managed the clock.
Shot clock under 10 now. Avery easily past Prince and feeds Elton Brand.
See, I just said it a minute ago. You can almost see it. His quickness just a little bit too much for Tayshaun Prince. He's a long lead, 6'7". Wojciechowski, look at him. He likes that. Look at Wojo, the radio man now. He's the radio man. There's that quickness, and there's the explosiveness, and there's the dish. Great vision, great awareness, alert. Count it, Elton says. Count it.
That's 21 points. Make it 22 on 9 of 11 shooting. And throw in 7 rebounds. Also throw in the foul on Evans, his 4th.
And throw in some great guard play, getting him free on the inside. And then and Brand converted.
Turner, 1 and done. 8th rebound for Brand.
Curry Kirkpatrick did a great story on Elton Brand. He was the cover guy of ESPN's magazine. A tremendous story, an in-depth story. The creative ability of Kirkpatrick as a writer. There's that delay game. They're running their motion, trying to get some backdoor cuts out of this.
Duke fans already starting their celebration. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
Just a great match on both schools. So much respect for both programs. So much pride.
4 on the shot clock. Battier just in time. Kentucky the board.
Both teams so focused.
Foul prior to the basket. Made by Turner. This will be on William Avery, his 2nd. Join us tomorrow for our college basketball doubleheader. First at 7:30 Eastern, Arkansas takes on Wake Forest, and then at 9:30, Kansas St. Louis. This nightcap featuring a battle of the Robertson brothers. Ryan of Kansas, Troy of the Billikens.
I'll tell you who's really stepping up right now. Kareem Reed down there, Arkansas. He went to the sideline a little bit. Nolan Richardson put him on a pine, and now he's coming back big at 26 the other day. I think Arkansas is going to be a major factor yet in that SEC.
One of the youngest teams Nolan Richardson's had sometime. With number 20, 8-2. He's got that matchup.
He's got some good-looking freshmen in there. Jeffries and Brandon Dean. Also Auburn undefeated. Will be 12-0 after beating Bethune-Cookman when they enter SEC competition on the 2nd date with Tennessee, and a 6th, I believe, at date with Arkansas.
Historically, Duke and Kentucky have played racehorse-type basketball, and this has never approached that style of game. They have had to win this one strictly mucking it up past court.
And one of the reasons both clubs really doing an excellent job in defensive transition, getting back, making it a 5-on-5.
But how promising a sign is this for Mike Krzyzewski, who figures that the only thing his team lacked last year, and it turned out to be their fatal flaw, was the inability to win a game like this where you had to execute in half court.
Yes, so that's a big plus for them right here because they're beating a quality team, beating them on a neutral floor. But remember, this gym, this arena has been so good to Duke over the years. 86, they beat the Naval Academy and march on to the Final Four from here. 88, they beat Temple. 89, Georgetown. 90, UConn, and a miracle shot by Christian Laettner. They've had many a magical moment right here at the Meadowlands. Double up, you're going to find the open man. There he is.
Over Evans.
He made a tough shot. He could have dumped it right off the Carroll for a layup.
Saul Smith. And finally, Evans gets the tap. 13 for Hashimu Evans with 1:03 to go.
He can play for me any day, Hashimu. He plays so hard. I still say the two MVPs of these programs are C.M. Newton, who went out and hired Rick Pitino and made it happen by getting Pitino on June 1st, 1989. And then when Pitino left on May 6th of 97, he hired Tubby on May 12th. As you look at Bob Hurley, and on the other side, Carl Butters, the former AD down at Duke, who had the guts to hire Mike Krzyzewski, coming off a 9-17 record at West Point.
Some people build this as the battle to decide the team of the 90s. Both coaches not really buying into the fact that this game would decide that, because they think that there is an excellent chance they may meet again.
I still think the best four teams in America are Kentucky, Duke, Maryland, and Connecticut. I have not seen Cincinnati in person, watched them on TV, and I think they're a very dangerous team. But I think if they had to play Duke on a neutral again, I would certainly give the edge to Duke.
Turnover is on a 5-second call.
Bobby Huggins doesn't want to hear me say that now. He might agree with me now. He might agree with me. I hope to motivate his kids.
3-point try, not there by Turner. Is only 1 out of 13 for the year. Beyond the arc is not his shot. Padgett gets the follow and a quick timeout with 15.9 seconds. They have it down to 9.
Brad Nessler and I were looking for filler material, and we had Stephon Marbury on. And we asked him to break up the game, break down the game for us. And he said, I give the edge to Kentucky because they got heart and they play on the defensive end. Well, I can tell you flat up and down, that was pointed out to the Duke players, Mr. Marbury's comments about heart. They made sure they heard about it.
9-point deficit. How much heart they have.
Both these clubs have a lot of heart. You don't get to the level they're at without a lot of heart. And you know what's great about college basketball, Dave? An L right now is not the end of the world. In football, an L in the middle of the season or early in the season is a nightmare. In college basketball, this is a great matchup, but it doesn't hurt these clubs. They're all going to tip off and all be equal when it comes March Madness, the greatest time of the year for hoop fans.
2 championships apiece this decade. Sports Center coming up next. We're seconds away. Jules Kamara with the foul with 39.2 seconds.
I often think, I don't know what I did in my early years when I didn't have Sports Center. I mean, Sports Center, I got to get home right away now. I got to sprint out. We got the car waiting. I got to get in. I want to watch Sports Center, see what all the happenings in the world of sports. Roger Clemens, I want to find out what happened to him.
Inquiring minds want to know. That story will be updated along with everything the college basketball scene tonight.
We got
Vinny Testaverde's new deal.
Yo, Vinny, I'm so proud of Vinny getting that new deal. I remember in Tampa, they used to put the rip on him as they convert on the line again. We had so many great guys and ladies in that Sports Center who do a phenomenal job. Giving us the info.
18 points for Langdon.
Automatic on the line. I think that's such a plus when you get the winning time. Not pretty. The shot does not look pretty.
Try it again. An awkward release. Same result. Wide left.
Really makes the scouts wonder. And it's amazing because he's an outstanding player. He's a great defensive player. He's a great offensive penetrator. But he just does not have that smooth shot. He's worked so hard on improving that shot from his freshman year.
20-second timeout. Let's check in with Jay.
Dave, last year in the game between these two teams in the NCAA tournament, the difference was Wayne Turner's penetration. And tonight, as Dick pointed out, Duke has done a masterful job of limiting Kentucky's effectiveness when Wayne Turner is able to take the ball off the dribble. He was not able to finish at the basket, nor was he able to dish it off to teammates. And Kentucky had some chances to get back into this basketball game, but as Tubby Smith said in their last time out, they just did not hit open shots. Dave?
16 points, 8 assists in that last meeting, including 9 over the last 8 minutes in the comeback. No comeback tonight. Nate James with the finishing touch of a decisive second-half performance by Duke. They led by 5 at the half. They have never really been seriously threatened since. Padgett with a miss, and Duke will take it, and a measure of revenge with the victory, 71-60.
Well, Mickey Krzyzewski very happy. There's 2 classy guys, 2 big-time winners, and I got a feeling we may see these 2 guys again over in St. Petersburg, hooking up once again. Just 2 great programs. I have so much admiration and so much respect, both for the Kentucky and the Duke programs. They really do things with class and with style.
Again, our final 71-60 Duke, which improves to 11-1. Kentucky now 10-2. Sports Center is coming up next. All the tradition, the 9 national championships, the 24 Final Fours, the 59 combined All-Americans. Head-to-head today, and it was the Blue Devils coming away with a convincing 11-point win. For Dick Vitale, Jay Billis, Chris Fowler, and Digger Phelps, Dave Barnett, so long from the Meadowlands. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.